when I go out speaking to people, everyone's heard of Reiki, but maybe not everyone's heard of quantum resonance or, other alternative stuff.
It's because we do get results.
Today we've got an esteemed guest, Karen Lange, who is from the Soul Healing Academy. She's the principal teacher there. Karen, welcome to our show. How are you today?
Hi, Indigo Jedi. Thank you for inviting me on your show. All good today and lovely to see you again. Thank you.
I'm so glad we could coordinate and find some time. It was a bit tricky with with finding time with both of our diaries being a bit busy, but at last we found some great time to talk about Reiki, which I'm very fascinated about because you're actually using your own hands and body to generate the energy that does the healing work. Is that correct?
We're actually tapping into universal healing energy. Everything around us has got life force energy. For example, you can actually taste it if you bite an apple that you pick off a tree versus an apple that's been sitting in a shop for two,
Mm.
3 weeks. Um, and also I've been to the Drakensberg where you drink water from a stream and you can actually taste that life force energy. And when we ill, our life force energy becomes depleted, becomes low, and the practitioner never gives of their own energy. They always connect into universal life force energy and bring that through them to heal the client.
Wow. So tell me, how did you get into this? This has obviously been a lifelong journey of yours. Um, yeah,
Yep.
how did you discover Reiki and what made you so passionate enough to start, the movement here in South Africa?
So many, many, many years ago, I think about 25, 26 years ago, I
Mm.
had a dream. It was so explicit. I was told everything. It was actually incredible. And even to this day, I remember almost all aspects of the dream. I was told where to go, what to find, all sorts of things. And so I did training and
So
I thoroughly,
the dream told you where to go and get training?
no, it told me where to look.
Okay.
And that sort of, it literally showed me like a 3 month sort of like thing of like what would happen, which school I'd be teaching at next, the people who I'd be with at the school. And then, because I remember this person in the dream was telling me I'm supposed to do healing. I was supposed to start years ago. They've given me grace. Why haven't you? And I remember showing them the school that I had to teach in and the people I had to teach with. And I said, when this is done, I will start doing healing. And when I woke up from the dream, I remember thinking it was very weird because I was going back to my old school and I was
Mm.
actually at that point, I was on maternity leave. And somebody phoned and said, please, you have to come in and teach for me. Her father had just died and she wasn't coping. So I went in and I remember when I walked in, it was exactly as I'd seen in the dream. So that was a bit of a fright for me. And then after that, I took the teaching, the studying of healing very seriously. And for many years, I worked as a healer. And then I had a dream where I was literally told that you've been holding the light for few, you need to go out, you need to teach. And I was woken up from that dream by a friend phoning me to tell me, listen, last night at yoga class, there were 4 of us, and we've decided you're a qualified maths and science teacher. You're going to teach us Reiki. We need to learn this. And so it's almost like I've been forced or pushed by the universe into it because I probably without those dreams would be a principal of a normal school teaching maths and
Wow.
science.
Well, you were pushed, and then it seems like eventually you took it in your stride and accepted the the direction, right, that you were being pushed in or being shown.
It's the most incredible direction, because one of the things I've discovered is Reiki is a way of life. It's, it's like gym. I go to gym once a week and I look like a Teletubby. But if I went every day, I'd probably have a proper shape. So my point is that every morning I do self-healing. Every evening I do self-healing. And I'm starting to move on in age, and I'm still perfectly healthy.
Mm.
So it's actually preventative health. It's understanding why, if health isn't good, what's this about? What's my body trying to tell me? And, making that silent time every morning to do self-healing, and every evening to do self-healing, and just look at what the universe is telling you. Because in essence, a lot of the time when we feel hurt or upset, or people have said something that are nasty, it's all about them. Very often it's seldom about you. How not
Mm.
to take things personally, how to just live in the moment, how to be present.
Yes.
Um, and I think when we live in the moment, our life is simpler, it's easier. Yes, our memory isn't that good because we know what's happening now, not what happened 5 years ago, 3 years ago. And the body's healthier because this moment is perfect. We don't bring in the anger from the past. We don't bring in, the worries about the future. And this creates less stress on the body,
I
which
see.
creates.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So tell me, why Reiki? Um, was that what was told to you in your dream, that Reiki was the direction that you had to
I,
take?
I've always, always, always had a total fascination with Japan. I was literally, I don't know how to explain this, the culture, the way of
So
living.
even when you were a
It's
little girl, were you fascinated
not
with your Japan, and your parents didn't know what was going on?
not necessarily, but I know that my parents went to Japan and they brought back photos. And in those days, it was just photos. And I remember looking at the photos and I remember thinking, wow, I really want to go here. I really want to see this with my own eyes. And I've always been fascinated with the geishas. I've also been fascinated with how people present a mask to the
Okay.
world, but yet they're different inside.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
and I found that the way the geishas, that sereneness, but yet there's so much happening inside, and the Japanese way of living. And I did my training in Kyoto, which was incredible because that opened me to what Reiki is really and truly about.
Because I understand there's a few different disciplines of Reiki. When I did my research and reading, there's about two or three different varieties, I think, or styles of Reiki. Is that correct? Or schools of
So,
Reiki?
so Reiki was brought out of Japan by a woman called Mrs. Hawaii Takata, and we're very grateful for her because she dedicated her life to spreading it in America. However, it did come out at the time of Pearl Harbor, where Japanese people were being locked up in concentration camps because of their involvement in Pearl Harbor. And you know, what happened is she had to westernize and bring in a whole lot of New Age philosophy, and she changed so much. So we have the Western styles, and then we have the traditional Japanese styles. And I attended a Reiki Congress in Kyoto, and the teacher said, the guy presenting said something incredible. Somebody asked, what's the difference between Eastern Reiki and Western Reiki? And he explained it beautifully. In, he said, if we look at archery in the West, they've got bows that are weighted for, like close or for far. We've got telescopic sights. We've got different arrows for different targets. He says, and this all helps the archer to actually improve accuracy. However, in Japan, nothing's changed in 2,000 years. The bows are the same, the arrows are the same. We are constantly working on the mindset of the archer.
That is such a really good analogy. So Maybe
So
I
you're
see it
working,
as the Western style has a lot of support, like crutches almost, to help
yes.
you.
So we
But
have hand positions, ways of removing energy.
mm,
Um, every 3 minutes we change positions. We can work in the energy fields, whereas the traditional Japanese, it's all work is done directly on the body. And very often, if the client has, for example, cancer, you would just work the tumor for an hour and 20 minutes, and then you massage the lymph system for 10 minutes. There's no like changing positions. In we actually have all these things that help, like to help the mind to focus and stuff like that. Whereas traditional Japanese, it's expected that you focus, which is sometimes not always easy. And often I'll start, different Reiki suit different clients. And the same thing with massage. You know,
hmm
some clients need lymph drainage massage. Some clients need a soft massage. Some clients need sports massage because they really need to get into those muscles. And in the same way, different Reikis are better suited for different things. And Reiki has adapted. So we've got certain Reikis which are mainly focused on emotional healing for people going through really crappy times in their lives. And then we've got Reikis that are focused on more on physical. The traditional Japanese is mostly, it's like a physical healing. So they're all wonderful, and I enjoy them all, and just to trust the process. And in the same way, a massage therapist might start working and say, oh, this ankle looks a bit swollen. I'm going to do a little bit of lymph drainage here, and then sure, this muscle on the lower back's really tight. I'm going to do a bit of sports here, and we just move between as the client needs it.
wow, I didn't realize that there were so many different varieties or ways of applying the Reiki. That's very, very insightful. It sounds like you've adapted and evolved with the times. Like emotional imbalance is more relevant now. So you are doing that now more often, it seems.
The founder, Mikao Sui, he developed the traditional Japanese style, and then people have internalized it and have adapted it to suit their needs. I work on a very specific type. Most of my personal clients are really, really ill. I help get a lot of people through chemo. So most of the times I am working physically, more on a physical level. And I often, if it's a huge emotional issue, I often refer through to a psychologist because I really, even though I've studied educational psychology, I just don't feel equipped to deal with hectic stuff that clients are undergoing. Basic emotional support, yes, I can help with, but not that hectic stuff.
Understood. And we met through the Wellness Hub at the
Yes,
Rosebank Sunday Market, and we've got
yes.
our next Wellness Hub gathering. We call it a gathering of alternate health practitioners. It's on the 5th of November. Karen and her team will be there. You can come and experience some Reiki. She'll be giving out samples. Her team is very experienced. Karen, tell me what attracted you about the Wellness Hub? You you've been very supportive of the event since the beginning.
You
Um,
know, I love it when people are trying to make a difference and they're trying to help. And when you sort of like sent out a message to me saying, "Listen, this is in the pipeline," and I felt your intention was to really help people, to actually bring something positive to people who are feeling really stressed with these hectic economic times and load shedding and instability we're going through in South Africa at the moment. And I just felt like a surge in my heart. And when I feel that, I know it's Spirit's way of saying, Karen, you've got to step up. You've got to do what needs to be done. You've got to help out. And I've been doing this for years. I've been teaching for years. I've been to thousands of, different fairs. Some you can feel they're in it for the money. Some you can feel they're in it for the love. And I just thought, you know what? I need to be here. These people are trying hard. There's a deep desire to help. And I, with that, and I just thought I've got to do this.
Wow, that is truly amazing that you got that feeling and you were able to listen to that feeling. I guess because you're much more trained to listen to your gut, maybe your guides speak easier to you. I know sometimes as well I get a gut feeling, but I don't listen to my gut and then
Mm,
things go wrong.
mm, mm.
I mean, is
You
it
know,
something that people can train to get more in tune to listen to their inner guides and their gut feeling?
well, Reiki in essence is about being present. If I'm putting my hands on, if you're not well and I'm putting my hands on to heal you, and I'm worried about my mother-in-law who isn't well at the moment, and my thoughts are with her, where thought goes, energy flows. So the
Mm,
ability to focus, the ability to be present, the ability to be in the moment is actually a vital part of Reiki. And it's very much part of Japanese tradition because the way that they speak, the way they use words, they try hard not to use negative words. So if you even say to a Japanese person, um, do you want to come for dinner? And they say, oh, what a wonderful idea. It's a polite way of saying no. Um, Whereas if they say, oh, I've got energy for that, then you know they're going to attend. So everything is done so subtly, and people are aware of those subtleties. It's almost like when Japanese people speak, there's a lovely saying that goes, you read the air, because there's implied things. And so their whole way of being is very focused, present, subtle. They're very aware, because of Shintoism, of the environment. And I've always just been fascinated by and loved that. And just coming back, so if I was healing you and thinking of somebody else, it would not be fair to you because the energy wouldn't go to you. So that maintaining focus, and that's why I do my self healing every morning and my self healing every evening, because by practicing daily, it helps to maintain that focus. So in essence, you become Reiki. It's not just something, I'm sick, I need it.
I remember after our first wellness event, I spoke to some of the people that had a session with you or one of your team, and they said that the practitioner like first scanned them almost with
Mm,
their
mm,
hands, and then
mm,
the practitioner said, "Oh, okay, there's something wrong. I can't remember, like in your liver, for example, because they felt maybe an energy disturbance or something." How does that work? You're channeling, you said universal energy, but you're able to feel um, energy blockages, I guess, in the patient. Is that how it works?
okay. So a lot of people don't even listen to their own bodies.
Yes.
We eat without our bodies say, I'm full, I don't need more. But you all know it's pudding, I'm going to eat it. So when we live with consciousness, when we listen to our own emotions, when we listen to our own bodies, it's actually easy to tune into other people. When we're present, it's easier to tune in. In the past, we're anxious. When we worried about in the past, we're angry about something that's happened or whatever. When we're in the future, sometimes or often we're anxious. But when we're in the moment and present, it's actually easier to tune into what's really happening, to hear what your guides or your soul is telling you, um,
I
as
see.
well as what the client's body is telling you. And very often you can feel, and I don't want to say we diagnose because actually we're not allowed to, but sometimes you can feel discomfort in your body. And I'll say, oh, I'm feeling discomfort here. Is there an issue with your stomach? And I'll say, oh, I've got two ulcers and I've just finished a course of antibiotics and it's still sore. And I'll say, okay,
Mm,
because we're not allowed to say, oh, do you have a problem with your liver?
mm.
Because that almost can plant seeds. So I think, possibly they've picked up that the client had a problem with their liver type of thing. Sometimes I'm touching a client's body or whatever, I can feel in my hands like heat or tingle, or not necessarily feeling it in my own body. But
Mm.
I feel like tingles or heat or like a coldness or pulsations, and then I'll know, okay, there's a problem in this area of the body.
Wow. Is it something everyone can do, or is it only certain people that have this ability?
Absolutely. Do you know Makai Asiri, who I call Asiri Sensei, because here's my sensei, one who walks ahead. I'm his Seitu, one who walks behind. And even a Sui sensei says that anybody who has a soul can do Reiki. In other words, as long as you can really and deeply care for another person, that you can come from a heart space, not a head space, you can do it. It's, for example, with massage, some people, it's almost like you feel movement 8 of 14 for the shoulder, and they're just going through the motions. And some people really want you to be better, and they care for you, and they're coming from a heart space. And as long as you can move out of your head and come from a space of compassion and care, you can do Reiki. As long as you can care for another person, you can do Reiki. Even a stranger, somebody, and you can see the humanity in this person. You can move beyond the ego and the false facades people put up to appear nice, and you can come from seeing the pain, etc. You can do Reiki.
So, Karen, the alternative, all the alternative modalities, there's so many of them. Reiki seems to have the most credibility somehow. Um, it's very well recognized. I know when I go out speaking to people, everyone's heard of Reiki, but maybe not everyone's heard of quantum resonance or other alternative stuff.
Look,
How
I
do you think
believe
that happened? That Reiki is so well known and almost trusted, I guess, by the public. They see it as a legitimate discipline.
it's because we do get results, and I think Reiki's easy to do. It's simple. And we get results. I've seen the most incredible results. And I think, in my own journey, I worked on a lady who was one of my very first clients. Was actually told she had a form of galloping cancer, and her chances of surviving chemo were minimal. And she was actually told, rather just enjoy your life, what's left. And her daughter was pregnant. She really wanted to meet her grandchild. And she decided, and I'm not saying it was Reiki only, she had chemo. She went on a macrobiotic diet. I mean, the woman ate goji berries and kale, and she got a little trampoline and she bounced on it to increase her lymph drainage. She did reflexology, and she's still alive. And I mean, this is like 25 years ago, whatever. And
Wow.
at that point, I realized also, it's not just Reiki, it's about getting the client to understand the mindset that possibly
Hmm.
created the illness in the first place, because I do believe that not all the time, but sometimes anger and resentment and holding on to creates illness, but sometimes good people get illness. So I'm not saying it's always that, but occasionally it is. And just to actually deal with the mindset and we're getting results. And I think because we're getting results, it's trusted, and also it can't do harm. For example, if you take the wrong pills, it can do harm from a medicine point of view.
Yeah, we were very glad to bring Reiki to the public, to people that have never experienced it before, to become aware that this discipline even exists, and like you said, it can do no harm because we're working with universal energy and the body's intelligence and ability to work with that energy. So the body won't do any harm to itself.
Our body has natural healing abilities. The
Correct.
problem is that when we're so stressed, and in these times, most people are so stressed, that all the oxygen and nutrient-rich blood is in the brain for quick thinking, which is creating looping anxiety, and in the muscles for fight and flight, which is creating stiff muscles, which is affecting the joints, especially the spine. And in essence, it's taking this away from the body's natural ability to heal. And by creating such a peaceful environment that Reiki does, when it comes from somebody coming from a heart space, it really just allows the person to relax enough, because the body's incredible. You have surgery, and after 6 weeks hopefully you're just left with a scar.
Mm.
Um,
That's true. We just need to get out of the way and let the body do its work and just be present, give the body the right nutrients, put it in the right condition, put it in the right mindset, I guess, and then the body will do the rest.
100%.
Guys, so you can find Karen. I'm going to leave her details in the description below. You can find her at the Soul Healing Academy, and you can also find her through the Reiki Association of South Africa. And if you want to come meet Karen and her team, she will be there on the 5th of November at the Wellness Hub at Rosebank Sunday Market. We're very glad to have Karen showcasing Reiki to the public. Karen, any last words before we close off our podcast?
No, just thank you for having us on. And I think the Wellness Hub is wonderful. And people should come. It's fun. We always have a lack of vibe at our tent, well, our space. And my therapists just love working there. It's always fun. It's always nice, and just come and chat.
And it's new people, right? It's people that haven't probably never even heard of Reiki and getting to experience it.
Yeah, we have people who've never heard of it and from all walks of life, and it's just wonderful to people actually feel it and they just love it. So, and
Yes.
thank you to you for creating this wellness hub. It's never easy to start something from scratch. It's always nice when there's something that exists and you can sort of take over and make it bigger and better. And thank you for undertaking to bring us this and to start from scratch.
Yeah, it's a community project, so we all work on it together. Karen, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to chatting with you again in the near future.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.